Nice array of pieces on my bench here. It's, took my planes pistol apart to give it a good cleaning. But the idea is my parts came in today. I didn't think they were going to work, but I tried it anyway. It's a repair kit from Pietta. This is my Uberti 1860 Army. I was kind of hoping the parts would be somewhat interchangeable, because as you can see, the spring broke off the hand on the 1860 Army. I tried this and it didn't work. I figure I'll show you what's going on here. Pietta and Uberti make these same guns, but they make them just different enough so the parts are not interchangeable. For example, there's the hand. The Pietta hand is taller and narrower than the Uberti. The Uberti's a nice blued one. The Pietta, of course, their quality isn't quite as nice as the Uberti stuff. So I guess if I really had to, if I was in a pinch to get the timing right on the cylinder, I'd grind this down to match the Uberti hand, but I'd also have to put a small washer in there, and I'd probably have to narrow down the washer enough to make up for the thickness of the Uberti hand. That would probably work, but being I have enough revolvers, I'm not going to start bastardizing shit to make it work. But if I was in a pinch, I'd do it. So while I had the stuff here, I'd figured I'll see what else they made different. There's two hammers. Now the one facing the screen, facing you, is the Uberti. You can see, hopefully, how much thicker the Pietta is on the back. So it's not going to work in with the back strap of the Uberti. Everything else, that's what your hammer face is. It's just a smidgen taller than the Uberti as well. It's a little thicker in here as well. So none of this is going to work. It's going to act like a jam unless you got busy, did some serious machine work. And again, you can see the hammer faces aren't the same. But everything down here lines up perfectly where your catches go. So they made some subtle differences so that just to make sure you didn't interchange parts. The springs are different, or a little different. You could use the Pietta spring on the Uberti, but you'd have to bend this to match the Uberti spring. If you didn't, you'd have one hell of a pile of tension on that hammer. Yeah. And you can see the Uberti stuff's all nice and blued. Or the Pietta isn't. Not that it really matters on the inside. Okay, there's the lock and trigger spring. The Pietta's is longer than the Uberti, so you could shorten the one for the trigger, but then your contact for the lock isn't going to be right. So there's two more pieces that ain't going to interchange. So throw that and the hammer back in the thingy there. So I have both, so it didn't bother me to order this. The triggers, I'll use the trigger pin to line her up. Okay, the hole isn't even, so Pietta's using a larger screw, so that'll answer another question. The screws aren't going to be interchangeable either. There's the Pietta pin for the trigger, or the Uberti I should say, and I ain't gonna fit the Pietta trigger. So triggers aren't interchangeable. Unless you drilled out the hole. Other than that, they're the same. So if you drilled out the hole, you could put a Pietta, and with a little bit of trimming here. That back so it'll focus. Yeah. Little gun, very little gunsmithing and a drill would make the triggers interchangeable. And last but not least, the lock. Again, the pins are different size. Yeah, they made them higher. If you felt like doing some filing and grinding, you might be able to make it work. Again, you'd have to drill out the hole. But it's looking like not really. Wouldn't be worth screwing around with that spring steel. So, you could modify the hammer spring to work just by bending it. The triggers, if you do a little filing on the Pietta and drill out the pivot hole, that'll work. Cylinder lock, not really. And the spring, trigger and lock spring, no. So you could screw around with the hand and make it work, but I'm not going to. It isn't going to be quite right. Just the pin won't be all the way in the hammer. So it's all new to me. I already know the cylinders and that aren't interchangeable. So there you have it, in case you cared.